It's funny, if you look at the way that companies invest in innovation, you'll find that they're almost always talking about and demonstrating with their wallets how they've invested in new product in the center of this spectrum of opportunities for innovation. But in work that Doblin Group, this is the innovation arm of Deloitte, in work that they did, and they pioneered this 10 types of innovation, they talked to CFOs about where the greatest return on innovation was using this 10-type framework. And what they found was the outer edges of the spectrum were where the biggest returns came. Innovations on the left-hand side in the back office in finance and networking, and on the customer side in everything from end-user experience and brand to channel, created transformational change, partly because when everyone's innovating in the middle around the same products, you're eventually all innovating on price or on cost. When you move out to this more complex set of possibilities, you have more differentiation, and you've got more opportunity to make money in the process, and it's harder for others to replicate, particularly if you combine several types of innovation. Swiffer, for example, represents 6 kinds of innovation. This was an acquisition by P&G who realized that the mop, a Raggedy Andy mop head that cleans better than a Swiffer, is inconvenient and dirty and a mess and requires a dedicated bucket and wheels and water all over the floor. And the Swiffer gives you a razors and blades business model that allows you to transform into a less effective but more efficient solution that consumers love. Apple's iMusic platform represents 8 types of innovation. They began with iTunes, where they created a way for you to download digital music. Then secondarily, they revealed the iPod, which was a better device, but it wasn't the crux of the innovation. It wasn't about the device. There were 6 other MP3 players that were all established and stable by the time that the iPod arrived. But none of them had digital download capabilities of the software. So it was really everything at the center of this, as well as the business model to enable it. And when you can break the cartel of record companies to be able to sell one song at a time, which was an innovation triggered by lawyers, you can transform an industry as they did. And it's really disrupted that cartel so that the music industry is a much more vibrant, fervent, and distributed platform today. Uber, Lyft, and all the other car sharing services represent at least 7 types of innovation. And it's interesting because they don't own the cars. They don't employ the drivers. All they've done is they've disintermediated supply and demand. They have taken car owners and drivers and matched them to riders in a way that is a much better experience because you're doing it on your phone. You know what the price is going to be. You've met your driver virtually. You've got a way to track it. You've got so many advantages that keep you from standing out in the rain hailing a cab when one's not available, that it, even despite running into the buzzsaw of taxi cab cartels and legal restrictions, they will ultimately prevail in almost every jurisdiction because consumers will demand it. We talked about Zara already. Their underlying innovations on the business configuration really circle around process. But as you can see, it's a combination of at least 5 types of innovation that they've brought together to be able to deliver that experience in 3 weeks. And Google's search engine represents one of the very rare exceptions of 10 types of innovation. But it wasn't initially 10 types. It covered 10 types over time as a whole array of different capabilities were introduced. In summary, let's use Google to explore the different types of innovation. Because this 10-type value chain, every business represents all 10 types. It's just not they're not innovating on all 10. So you should be able right now for your business to be able to draw 10 boxes and fill in the blank on how your company delivers on the central offer through engagement model and a configuration that makes that possible. And then you can start saying, well, what can we do differently that would optimize a better experience? Here you can see how Google did it from the configuration standpoint. I won't read it out loud for you, through the offering and to the engagement in order to allow you to navigate the very difficult to identify World Wide Web in order to find arcane information in the 4 corners of the earth and do it instantly and for free. That is an amazing accomplishment.